20-4 on the year against Kevin Augustine of Ellis, 19-5 on the year.
Augustine, Rich, is in the orange uniform. Marquez from Leota in the dark uniform with the red stripe across the front.
Former state champion wrestler at St. Francis High School, Stan Falkender, the head coach there, and Johnny Flores, the coach at Leota. And again, Marquez in the black, and in the orange, it is Augustine.
Marquez tried an arm drag. He made good penetration, lost his balance momentarily and couldn't score. It's still 0-0. First period action. Marquez a good shot in. He gets in deep on the single, but Augustine once again counters out. Augustine with a shot of his own. A little bit too far out. He's going to have trouble scoring if he shoots his double from 3 feet away.
This is a rematch of the regional championship again in Oakley between Marquez of Leota and Augustine of Ellis. Marquez did win that match 8-2. So these guys are somewhat familiar. They have matched wits and heads before.
Augustine in the orange uniform, Marquez in the dark uniform. It's scoreless in the first period and a good arm drag. Marquez comes around behind. He has to bring Augustine to the mat. He does that and scores 2.
Then while the fans watch the action of the championship match at 130, this is the weight class that saw one of the really true great freshmen in this tournament. Rob Dunn of Heston, Kansas came in unbeaten, was beaten in the semifinals by Marquez 9-7. But this young lad from Heston, Kansas, Rob Dunn, really a great future.
We'll certainly hear from him again in wrestling. Augustine working off the bottom in the first period. Under the control of Joe Marquez from Leota. Augustine in a good stand-up. Marquez hanging on now with the body lock. Augustine once again in the orange uniform comes up and gets one. They go out of bounds, however. Marquez scores another takedown. It doesn't count because they do go out of bounds.
Marquez came right back, but he did battle in there and he lost control.
With 14 seconds to go in the first period, Marquez tries to come in and score again. Augustine counters, however, working right on the edge of the mat, and they go out of bounds. There won't be any scoring. We're down to 3 seconds in the first period. Joe Marquez of Leota in the dark uniform leading 2-1.
Kevin Augustine is another Mid-Continent Conference wrestler. And over the years, you've read a lot, you've heard a lot about Northwest Kansas League domination over the years in the 60s and 70s, and even the early 80s maybe, but the Mid-Continent Conference has really come to life in the last 5 years.
On the toss of the coin, Rich, Augustine does take bottom side. He thinks he can get out. He did it once before. Marquez putting on a little more pressure, tries to underhook the leg, but Augustine gets in the standing position, peels off, ties the match at 2-2. Once again, Augustine shoots his double too far out. Marquez can see it coming. Marquez makes a move in, but on the edge of the mat, he can't score from there.
Augustine scored 2 points in the championship match.
You'll notice Coach Stan Falkender looking in intently.
Yes, he is, back behind in the corner, right behind the officials.
His boy Kevin Augustine is in the match, but Marquez gets a good arm drag on the edge of the mat, and that's what edges are for.
Yeah, for Kevin Augustine of Ellis, he knew right where he was at. I think Marquez thought he might have had it.
Well, it was a good move, and Marquez is a good drag man. But Augustine coming in, and he gets in deep on a single. Marquez now trying to counter with the whizzer, and he's able to pull Augustine out of bounds. A good counter move, good strategy.
Both wrestlers using good strategy here. Tied 2-2, second period. 130-pound weight division. Kansas 3-2-1A final championships.
Defensive tie-up right on the moment for both wrestlers.
Well, this match has really nothing to do with the team title, but it certainly hangs in the balance for an individual title between these two. But the team title is still up for grabs at 130-pound weight division.
Another good drag move on the part of Joe Marquez. But right on the edge of the mat, he can't score.
Both wrestlers are near scoring moves, but always on the edge of the mat.
Kevin Augustine taking just a little bit of time to get his breath. Marquez shoots in deep, but he's made that shot from too far out, and Augustine counters, comes around to the side, and scores two. We might have an upset brewing here, Rich.
Well,
but I guess Joe Marquez has other ideas. He scored a nifty little reversal, ties it up 4-4.
they go off the edge of the mat, but this is a very close match.
And time is getting to be a factor in the second period, and as you said, Rich, tied up 4-4. Augustine bottom side in the orange uniform.
Both coaches sitting in their corners intently watching.
Good set out, turn in move. Marquez is able to hang on. We're down to 7 seconds. Second period action. Marquez going in behind the leg. That's a pretty good move, and he takes a peek at the clock and realizes he can hang on.
Well, I'm not knowledgeable enough at this point in time to tell you whether Stan Falconer or Ellis has ever had a state champion in Ellis, but certainly they have a shot right now.
Our impression is, Rich, that this would be their first individual champion.
And
but
so,
it's premature because we're tied up 4-4 and 2 whole minutes of wrestling to come. On the whistle, not a tough move that time for Joe Marquez, but he's trying to spin in. He's using sort of a Granby whirl. And Augustine riding tough. He's a little bit too far forward, and Marquez is going to come out. Augustine should have ditched it. He could have let Marquez up with one, but Augustine decided to try to hang on and gives up the reversal, trails 6-4. Marquez now working with some confidence, keeps the wrist tied up. Even though they're in the standing position, he's able to trip Augustine to the mat.
Augustine in the orange uniform working over toward the edge of the mat, going to try to get off the mat. As you see there, they did. Now they're going to go back, and he'll try to start all over, Ben.
Kevin Augustine trailing 6-4 takes a look at his coach, Rich, and Stan Falconer doesn't want to settle for a close match. He wants the individual title for his wrestler.
We're at the 130-pound weight division. Kansas 3-2-1A state championships in Hays, Kansas.
Sit out, turn in, up into a standing position for Augustine. Marquez is able to hang on to the body. A 6-4 lead for Marquez. Less than a minute to go. Now Marquez locks up a cradle but lets loose. Marquez in the dark uniform has that 6-4 lead, and he continues to control Kevin Augustine.
Augustine knows very well that he's only just a big move away from tying the match. He's looking at his coach in the corner, Stan Falconer.
Marquez trying to shake his arms out a little bit. He's getting a little bit tight in the arms. Augustine on a good set out. Marquez simply locks the body up and hangs on.
You can see the time on the clock up in the right-hand corner. Less than 25 seconds, and you can see Augustine battling near the edge of the mat.
Augustine tried to isolate, a little mistaken strategy. He came back inbounds, wanted to go out, but with 11 seconds to go, It's really getting critical for Augustine in the orange uniform.
You saw right in the background briefly Coach Stan Faulkner. He feels like his wrestler still has time, but he's going to have to make it happen in a hurry.
A long sit out, a turn in. Does he get a face? No, he does now, but he still hasn't scored the point. He gets one, but time will expire. Rich, and Joe Marquez was able to hang on.
Well, I just saw head coach Stan Faulkner clapping on the edge of the mat there for his wrestler Augustine in the orange uniform. Look over at Flores, the coach from Leota, kind of winked at him as to say, well, it was a great effort, great match, and somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose.
Rich, now I noticed on the scoreboard clock, and they've taken the score off already, it showed 6-4. Was the escape? No, it was not awarded according to the scoreboard clock. It says 6-4. But I thought he had the escape.
He did give it. 6-5 was the final score. Referee did give it to him. 6-5 the final score as Marquez wins the championship from Leota at 130 pounds. So we're getting ready now for the presentation of awards at 125-pound weight class as they get ready to step to the podium over there. As a fourth-place finisher at 125 was Justin Anthony from Lyons. The consolation champion was Matt Park of Oakley, the Plainsman. The second-place finisher was Ryan Becker of Plainville. And the 1989 125-pound class champion was Corey Burton of the Hill City Ringnecks. Burton, the 100.